Alright guys, we're all Roslot and this is a special video today. It is going up late, but I've had to do some travelling. This is going to be a in-person live review of AEW All in 2023. I was at the show live last night in London in Wembley Stadium along with 81,000 foreign people and friends. Basically went down on Saturday, spent the weekend there, and fortunately it's a bank holiday Monday in England, so everyone has the day off anyway, pretty much. But yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing All In. This is obviously my first AEW show live, the first pay per view I've been to live. I went with a group of friends, and this video is going to be just one I'm going to gush in. This experience was special to me in every way. I've got the match card. I mean, I know all the matches pretty much off the top of my head anyway. I won the predictions competition between us as well. I got 7 out of 11, so I'm pretty happy with that. But this show was so special to me, and this video is just going to be me gushing probably about the show and giving you kind of my live thoughts on it. Obviously, I paraphrase everything by saying that I have a visual impairment, which means that all of the specifics in matches sometimes I'm not going to see. There are also matches that I like go to the toilet for, stuff like that as well. But yeah, so there are bits of matches that I am going to miss. And I have tried to recap a lot of the show this morning while I've got a chance, just to kind of refresh myself on what happened. But I do have a pretty good idea of every match, and I do have a pretty good idea of what star rating I'm going to give every match. I was tempted initially to not give matches star ratings until I'd rewatched them just on a TV. But I think I've got enough to give each match a star rating. And some of the matches, when I finished watching them, I'm like I've got to give that a star rating because of how good it was. So without further ado, this is going to be my AEW All in 2023 in-person live thoughts, I guess. The opening match was on the 0 hour, and it was the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship as Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis defended against MJF, the AEW World Champion, and Adam Cole, baby. The pop for MJF and Adam Cole in the stadium was massive. The match between Aussie Open and MJF and Adam Cole was pretty much just a safe match. Like, it went 6 minutes. They didn't really do anything. They didn't want MJF or Adam Cole to naturally get injured. I've obviously seen much better Aussie Open matches, and I've seen much better MJF and Adam Cole matches. But this match was there for a reason. It was there to tell the story. And the story was MJF wanting to hit the kangaroo kick, double clothesline, all that sort of stuff. And at the end of the match, MJF hit a double kangaroo kick on Davis and Fletcher before hitting Fletcher with the double clothesline. MJF and Adam Cole won the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. I'm going to give this match 2.5 stars. It's probably in that ballpark as a match anyway, but the crowd really did aid. The pop when they won the tag titles was insane. Christ, like, this is why I think we need more wrestling shows in this country, because when we have shows, the crowd are unbelievable, and that pop on a pre-show match, nonetheless, was insane. But 2.5 stars. That was it was fine. It was a fine little pre-show match. The second and final match on the pre-show was the FTW title as Hook went against Jack Perry. Obviously, Jack Perry's now a heel, and he's been using like the orchestral music, like the opera music, and he's a good heel. I think he's been doing well with the gimmick. He says he's going to retire the FTW title. Unfortunately, he will not have a chance. Hook does actually win this match. Hook beats Jack Perry, but they have a decent little kind of no holds barred match. I think it's FTW rules, but didn't actually specify that at the beginning of the match. So basically, they had a hardcore match, and they were outside the ring at first, and Jungle Boy did a suplex onto this limo at ringside, and then he did a rolling thunder on the limo, kind of mocking RVD, but Hook would fight back. Hook would hit like a cradle fisherman's driver, like I think Seth Rollins used to have it as his finish, like a cradle fisherman's driver onto the windshield of the limo. They went back to the ring. And eventually, Hook, after a couple of suplexes, would lock in the Red Rum and would make Jack Perry tap out. I'm going to give this 3 stars. I think it's probably the best Hook match I've seen. Genuinely. The match with Jack Perry on Dynamite was really good too. This one just had like the smoke and mirror stuff to maybe elevate it slightly. But 3 stars, good match. That was the pre-show. The main card opened with... I've forgotten already. That's not good. It was a singles match. It was, oh my gosh. Sorry, I can't believe I said I was going to be able to name all the matches, and I've already forgotten. It opened with CM Punk and Samoa Joe. How could I forget this opened? The crowd booed CM Punk. So, he came out, and everyone sang his song, because it's a fantastic song, and then they booed CM Punk. This was a total character assassination under CM Punk from the Wembley crowd. They loathed this man, and I joined in. I was supporting Joe in this match, and I had no idea Joe was never going to win this, but. I just like Joe, and Joe's great chant, he's a great in-ring worker, and these two had what I thought was a pretty good match. I don't think it ever got elevated to great. The match was 90% Samoa Joe, which made Punk look really good as a babyface victor, and in the end, when Punk got the win, naturally he did get the win and retained the real AEW World Championship. When he did get the win, the crowd popped. The crowd did pop for that win. So Joe was just beating Punk up in this match. No selling, dodging. Punk went for a springboard to the outside. Joe just walked out of the way of it. Joe with an enziguri in the corner. He did the senton. He did a uranagi. Just destroying Punk. Punk got very little offense in. He did get busted open. He hit the high knee at one point. A couple of kicks. Joe hit a powerbomb and then he went into the SDF. Punk and Joe, I think, both mocked Hogan, and I think at one point Punk went for mimicking Cena, doing the shoulder tackles and stuff like that. And then towards the finish, Joe was going for the muscle buster, but Punk caught him on the top rope and hit the Pepsi plunge, his old Ring of Honor finisher, for the 1-2-3. I actually think the crowd maybe will pop him for the Pepsi plunge. We've not seen the Pepsi plunge used by Punk in a long time, it feels. And it was a very appropriate way for Punk to be his greatest Ring of Honor rival. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. This was a very good match. The crowd were absolutely rocking for it. And CM Punk, I'm not a massive fan of the real world title angle, because it makes he devalues MJF's belt ever so slightly. But let's see where they go. 3.5 stars, very good way to open the show. Second match on the show was the 6-man tag. It was Bullet Club Gold, which is Juice Robinson and Jay White, and Konosuke Takeshita, who came out obviously with Don Callis. He had a really awesome graphic, which was like a painted picture of Konosuke Takeshita and Don Callis. And they were against the Golden Elite, which was Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, which I got to see live, and Hangman Adam Page. I thought this was a pretty good 6-man. I've seen varying reviews, people saying it was a great 6-man. I don't think, again, it ever got to that great level. It was a typical, really good, well-worked, great heat with Takeshita, White, and Robinson. And it was really good babyface fire from Omega, Ibushi, who I don't think did a lot. I've kind of been disappointed by what Kota Ibushi has done in AEW. It's a little bit disappointed by what he did in Blood and Guts. Just don't think he got a lot of time to shine. And in this match, I don't feel like he got a lot of time either. He did a moonsault and he did the triangle moonsault. Kenny Omega did the Terminator dive. Hangman went for Deadeye at one point, which was countered. Towards the end, though, Hangman did hit a buckshot lariat onto Konosuke Takeshita, which knocked him out of the ring. Kenny Omega then flew in and hit V-triggers on Juice Robinson and Jay White, but by that point, Konosuke Takeshita had kind of healed from the buckshot lariat, and he came in, schoolboyed Omega, and with the tights, 1, 2, 3, Takeshita pins Omega. A massive victory for Konosuke Takeshita. And in our predictions that me and all the guys did at Went to Wembley, none of us predicted that the heels would win here, when frankly it is the better finish, because Takeshita needs a big win. And him pinning Omega perfectly sets up exactly what is happening, which is All Out. It's just Omega and Takeshita in a singles match, which I think will be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Takeshita, Jay White, and Juice Robinson beat the Golden Elite. Very good match. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars again. I maybe preferred the opener because the crowd were better for it, but it was still a very good matchup. And very good matchup. Third match on the show, FTR versus the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks came out in Freddie Mercury-inspired attire, and FTR had armbands on, which paid tribute to Bray Wyatt, Brody Lee, and Jay Briscoe. Rest in peace to all those three men. Gone too soon. This match, FTR and the Young Bucks, to me, was probably the best match on the show. I think that they tore the house down. I don't think it's the best match they've had between the two teams, but it was brilliant. The heat segment at the beginning of the match on Dax and Cash was really good. The Young Bucks playing the dastardly bastard heels. And then you had segments where Dax and Cash would both have sharpshooters in. One was on the apron, but Matt Jackson then kicked Cash off him while he was in the sharpshooter, and Cash went into the stage steps. That Jackson then jumped in the ring, face busted Dax Harwood, and then did a moonsault to Cash on the outside. The Bucks did a bunch of dives to the outside. Dax and Cash hit the stump pile driver, double team combo. The Bucks kicked out. The Bucks then hit a series of super kicks, and I think it was Dax that kicked out. They then hit a BTE trigger, which was kicked out of as well. So we were getting every kick out imaginable. Then the two teams hit each other's finishes. The Bucks hit the Shatter Machine, which was kicked out of. Dax and Cash hit a BTE trigger, which was also kicked out of. And towards the finish, the Bucks finally went for the Meltzer driver. Cash knocked one of the Bucks out of the way. As the other Buck is springing in, they pop him up into a massive Shatter Machine. 1, 2, 3. FTR retained. There was in this matchup a chant of Wheeler's got a gun. So it did make me feel like Cash could have lost the tag title, but no, FTR retained the tag titles. Fantastic match. Absolutely go out your way to see this. 4.5 stars. Truly the first really fantastic, great match on the show, to me. In my eyes, this is the one that I felt like I saw probably more of this match than any other match. Maybe apart from the main event, but this, to me, as soon as it finished, I was like, that's like a 4.5, 5-star match. But I've not given it 5 stars. I've not seen a 5-star match live, in my eyes. Fourth match on the show, Stadium Stampede. This was kind of hard to keep track of, because obviously they're everywhere. 10 people, they're everywhere. So, take Stadium Stampede, it was the Blackpool Combat Club, which is Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Wheeler Yuta, and Santana and Ortiz, former Proud and Powerful, against Eddie Kingston, Penta El Zero Miedo, Orange Cassidy, and the best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. This match was just balls fun. It was just balls to the walls. Stuff everywhere. Stuff on the outside. Jon Moxley and Penta were in the ring, and Jon Moxley got taken down. Penta got the skewers. and started hammering them into Jon Moxley's head, and he let his hand go, and it just fell, and it was disgusting and wince-inducing. He then hit him with a Pentagon driver, which Jon Moxley kicked out of. Then Jon Moxley started destroying people with a fork to the back of Penta, fork to the back of Orange Cassidy. Busted open. Jon Moxley's busted open by this point. Trent Beretta just felt like he got beat up for all of this match. Trent Beretta was pile driving on the steps, which was what busted him open, I believe. In the back, Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta are fighting in like a back area, which you had to watch the screen to see. But Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta, there was like a suplex on the floor. And then Sue came back and saved the day. Eddie Kingston was also fighting in the crowd with Ortiz, maybe. Or was it Claudio? Definitely Claudio, actually. Claudio, towards the end of the match, did a rotation, like the big giant swing as well, and he got to like maybe 8 or 9. But Sue, towards the end of the match, returned as well. Sue came in with loads of cookie sheets, and they had actual cookies on. And Beretta and Chuck Taylor took the cookie pans, and they crashed them over Jon Moxley and Ortiz. And Penta, who'd been gone for a while at this point, his Penta Obscuro music hit, so Penta Obscuro came out, so he basically just had a costume change and came out in a red outfit, and he went up a ladder with Ortiz and gave him a sunset flip powerbomb through a table. And Orange Cassidy at this point had hit a couple of orange punches on Jon Moxley in the ring, but Moxley kicked out, or was it Wheeler Yuta maybe who kicked out? So at that point, he wrapped his hand in tape and tried to get some glass onto his hand. Trent Beretta also took a suplex throw into some glass, and there was some barbed wire tables and stuff as well, which were used. So Orange Cassidy's gone to put the glass in his hand. Eddie Kingston comes back because Claudio gives Orange Cassidy a big, the big Swiss death, the big push-up or uppercut. But fortunately, Eddie Kingston comes back, takes out Jon Moxley and gets him out of the way, and Orange Cassidy hits one final glass-aided orange punch and pins the Ring of Honor World Champion, which doesn't set up a title match between them. It sets up a title match between Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. As questionable as that is, this was a absolutely balls-to-the-walls fun match. I'm going to give this Stadium Stampede 4 stars. I don't think it's as good as some of the other Stadium Stampedes because there were limitations on what they could do. But it was still 4 stars. It was still great. And, there was blood, there was violence, there was athleticism. I got to see Penta doing stuff. I got to see Eddie Kingston doing stuff. Santana and Ortiz felt like they did less, but still stuff. And I got to see Jon Moxley. And he bled, obviously. If you looked at the 10 men in this match, and you went, which one of them's going to bleed? You would obviously go, oh, it's Jon Moxley. Oh, and Chuck Taylor also hit his finisher, the Awful Waffle, at one point, and he got a 2 count on that. But yeah, Orange Cassidy, the Best Friends, and Penta and Eddie Kingston win. They played Jane after it, and everyone sung along to Orange Cassidy's song, and it was wonderful. And they did the zoom out hug, which they all did a big hug. That was awesome. We needed that in Wembley. 4 stars, great match. And then we had the 5th match on the show, the only women's match, which is a bit of a shame. It is a shame that there's no Chris Statlander defending the TBS title on this show. But we had the 4-way for the AEW Women's World Championship. The champion, Hikaru Shida, defends against Saraya in her home country, against Toni Storm, and against Britt Baker, DMD. I thought this match was pretty good. The entrances, like Paige got an entrance to Queen's We Will Rock You, and she came out with her family, which absolutely terrific moment for her. Fully justified and deserved. Toni Storm came out to the English national anthem, which I couldn't work out why. And obviously Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida just came out. This match was maybe the weakest on the show. I mean, it's still good. It was still good, but it was short. The best spot of the match was easily when Paige locked in the PTO on Shida, and she had it locked in, and out of nowhere, Britt Baker just stomped Shida gave her a curb stomp, and then got rid of Paige and got a 2 count off that. A lot of the match was Saraya and Toni Storm working together until Toni Storm accidentally hit Saraya's mother in the crowd, and then Saraya and Toni Storm started fighting each other. Toni Storm got knocked and fell on Britt Baker at one point, which got a 2 count. But towards the finish, Britt Baker would lock in the lockjaw on Hikaru Shida, put the fingers in the mouth, but then Paige would hit Rampage on Toni Storm 1, 2, 3. So Hikaru Shida didn't tap out. Paige wins by pinfall. That moment of Paige winning the title in her home city was so cathartic. It was a really nice moment, a really cathartic moment for everyone, I guess. Like, that's a woman who has been shafted a lot in her career. Even before her injury. She came in 2014, she's won a couple of Divas titles, 2 Divas titles, and she unfortunately got pushed to the wayside really quickly in 2015 and 16 because the 4 Horsewomen came up, and then she had so many backstage issues, whether it be with Alberto Del Rio or whatever. But, she's been very unlucky, and she got this beautiful moment, and her parents and her brother got in the ring and held up her hands. It was really cool listening to or seeing Paige win a title in England in front of 80,000 people. It was a really cool moment. The match overall, I'm going to give 3 stars. It was good. I really liked the timing of the curb stomp. But it wasn't great, and it never really got to close to great. 6th match on the show. This was the coffin match between Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage as they took on Sting and Darby Allin. I wasn't looking forward to this match as much as I probably should have been, because it was still pretty good. Sting and Darby Allin had a cool video package beforehand where Sting said it's showtime and he came out to seek and destroy, which was really cool. I am a bit ashamed not ashamed. I am a bit upset that I didn't get to see or witness or hear Sting's actual AEW theme, because it's an absolute banger. It absolutely slaps. But we got to hear Seek and Destroy, and Sting and Darby and Swerve and Christian had a pretty good little coffin match. Now, coffin matches tend to be a bit ploddy because it's all built around putting someone in and shutting the lid, and a bit like a table match or a buried alive match or an ambulance match. Like, there's only so much teasing you can do. But this one just about got it, I'd say. Darby Allin at one point went for a coffin drop onto Christian Cage, who was on a coffin, and Christian moved and he just died. Sting hit a Scorpion Death Drop onto Swerve, onto a coffin, which looked sick. Sting did splashes to Swerve through a table. Luchasaurus eventually would get involved, and he took out Sting and Darby. And then Nick Wayne came out, and he got choke slammed onto a skateboard, which looked pretty horrible. But Sting and Darby would eventually fight back. Stinger splashes by Sting on both men. They would put Swerve Strickland in a coffin, and his hand would be out of it and that was what was keeping it from being closed. And Darby did a coffin drop onto the coffin, killing poor Swerve Strickland's hand, and the coffin was shut, and Darby and Sting won the day. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars as well. I'm going to say that I preferred the Punk Joe match and the 6-man, just because I don't like the idea of, we're going to put you in, you've got out, we're going to put you in. I think it can sometimes go along, but this was still very, very good, very well, very athletic, and I think everyone did a good job. The spots on the coffin all looked really good, and yeah, it was enjoyable. Match 7, easily the thing I looked forward to most on the show. Will Ospreay in front of 80,000 people taking on Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho sung Judas as he came out, and everybody in that stadium sung Judas with him. And at that point, everyone was on his side. And then elevated by It Lives, It Breathes hit, and everybody was on Will Ospreay's side, and Jericho got absolutely shafted. So, at that point, Jericho just became the heel and worked a really good heel match. He was all grounding Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay was out of the gate firing first with dives over the top rope, just showing his athleticism. And then Chris Jericho would take over with a German suplex on the apron. And that's where he took over, started working over the back of Will Ospreay, put him in the walls of Jericho at one point, and Will Ospreay escaped. Will Ospreay hit a couple of cheeky Nando's kicks. He hit the hamstring one into the ropes. He hit a powerbomb, like a flipping powerbomb out of nowhere for a 2 count. Jericho hit a code breaker for a 2 count, and he hit a second code breaker as well. Jericho also hit the Judas effect for a 2 count. One of the only people to kick out of the Judas effect is Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay would fight back though. He hit a shooting star press onto Jericho's back as he was on the top rope. He would finally, after going for a hidden blade, Jericho countered, went for a Judas effect. He would finally counter that, lift Jericho up, hit the Stormbreaker. Jericho kicked out. So Will Ospreay went into the corner, looked at Jericho. Jericho said, "Hit me." He killed him with the hidden blade, and then he picked him up and hit him with his Stormbreaker again. Will Ospreay beats Chris Jericho. The crowd went absolutely wild for Will Ospreay. He was probably one of the most over people on the show. Naturally, it's his hometown. Oh, he also hit the Essex Destroyer, the Spanish Fly, say that, at 1.2 for a 2 count. Will Ospreay beats Chris Jericho. This was my favourite match on the show. I think this absolutely ruled. I think Will Ospreay has proven that he's just, the best in the world, and he got this match out of Chris Jericho at his age. Chris Jericho was great in this match, but this is Will Ospreay's match. He's so good. 4.5 stars, I'm going to say. I'm going to give it the same grade I gave the FTR Young Bucks match, because that was that maybe better wrestled, but this one I just loved. Absolutely loved this match. Watching this match live and seeing Will Ospreay, and he is so good at his job. So then we had the penultimate match on the show. This was kind of the cool-down match, and it was the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn challenging for the AEW Trios Tag Team Championship as they faced the House of Black, which is, of course, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King. This was contested under house rules, and the Acclaimed chose a no-holds-barred match. So it was another hardcore match on the show, which maybe we didn't need, but, swings and roundabouts. The Acclaimed did a rap, of course, as they came out. We all love the Acclaimed. The diss on Prince Andrew was C'est Magnifique. Literally everyone lost their mind when Max Caster mentioned that. And the Acclaimed were probably, again, one of the most over acts on the show next to Ospreay, MJF, Jericho. Jericho, when he came out, Jericho was like everyone sang his song. Everyone sang Punk's song. Everyone sang Will Ospreay's song. Everybody sang Jericho's song. Everybody boomed for Adam Cole. Everybody kind of did the music like da 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 for MJF. Everyone did that too. Poor CM Punk. When I'm thinking about all these people getting cheered, I just think about poor CM Punk. But no, the Acclaimed and the House of Black kind of sums up the match. I don't think a lot happened really. Julia Hart got involved a little bit. But in the end, the Acclaimed, they basically hit the Famous on Brody King, they hit the Arrival on Brody King, and then Max Caster hit a mic drop elbow on Brody King for the 1, 2, 3. I'd probably say this was the worst match on the show, actually. I know I've said that about a few matches, but probably the worst match on the show, really. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 stars. I'm going to say it was decent. It was still a big deal, and I'm very happy the Acclaimed finally won the Trios titles, and it was actually the House of Black who handed them the Trios titles, which was a nice moment, and Julia Hart scissored one of the scissored one of, I think she did the scissor, or maybe she turned it down, I can't remember. And after the match, Max Caster said, "Look, we got you back in front of 81,000 people, and scissor me daddy ass and all that." Super good. Awesome. So over. It was the right time to take the belts off House of Black, so awesome stuff. Match was decent, moment was better. Rap before the match, best part. And then we moved into the main event of All In, the first All In, which we'll get to. Best friends MJF, the AEW World Champion, against Adam Cole. Oh, didn't mean to kick that. This match was a brilliant story. This match didn't have the best wrestling. That is the Will Ospreay or the FTR match. But this match told a wonderful story. And it honestly was a bit of the antithesis of how most of us thought it would go. because most of us thought this is going to be MJF using all the shortcuts and Adam Cole not wanting to. And it was the opposite. This was literally MJF not wanting. At the beginning they're just doing chain wrestling, and it's Adam Cole who throws the first punch, Adam Cole who throws the first pump kick, Cole who throws the first slap, the first stomp. And MJF doesn't quite know how to deal with it. And for a lot of the match, it's all Adam Cole. MJF at one point tries to steal the Panama Sunrise. Adam Cole ends up stealing the Heat Seeker faceplant with the ropes. Adam Cole eventually goes outside of the ring, and both of them, MJF has Adam Cole in a tombstone position on the announce table, but he puts him down because he can't do it. And as he gets back on the table, Adam Cole picks him up, does it straight away, no hesitation. And they kept battling back and forth like that. MJF eventually would hit a bunch of super kicks for a 2 count on Adam Cole in the ring. Adam Cole hit a Panama Sunrise on MJF on the outside, rolled him in for a 2 count there. And it was just a brilliant little contest. The kneecap brainbuster, all of Adam Cole's big hits. And then at the finish came when the two men double clotheslined each other, which is something I've probably not even thought about, the fact they double clotheslined each other. But they ended up with their arms on each other. The referee counted 1, the referee counted 2, the referee counted 3, and there was a massive groan in the crowd. And everybody chanted bullshit. Now, I chanted bullshit, but I was 99% sure this wasn't going to be the finish. And Adam Cole said, no. When Justin Roberts announced, and that is a draw, that means MJF retains. Adam Cole got a mic, said, no, max 5 more minutes. And MJF, calling back to when they originally had that 30-minute time limit draw, he said, no. 5 minutes isn't long. 5 minutes isn't long enough. Let's go until we've got a fucking winner in Wembley. And apologise for swearing, but that's exactly what he said. And they did. They went until they got a winner in Wembley, and they beat the hell out of each other. MJF hit a Heat Seeker. Adam Cole hit another Panama Sunrise, but MJF kept kicking out. At one point, MJF was in the corner, and he was looking in his tights, and he got the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and he put it on, and he was going to do it, but he put it back. And that's when Adam Cole, I believe, hit him with a Panama Sunrise with a super kick or something. And at this point, Roderick Strong came out and he kicked MJF in the balls. And Adam Cole, at that point, the referee had been knocked down, he'd been taken out. Adam Cole hit a Panama Sunrise, he hit the boom knee on MJF, but the referee was knocked out, so he crawls over. 1, the slowest count. 2, MJF kicks out. And the crowd went mental when he kicked out of that. Adam Cole doesn't know what to do. He goes for another Panama Sunrise. I think MJF pulled the referee in the way again. He pulled the referee in the way. And Adam Cole ended up doing a Panama Sunrise onto Bryce Remsburg, which was, again, we kind of lost our shit for that as well. But yeah, so did a Panama Sunrise onto Bryce Remsburg. But MJF is still down. Roderick Strong is at ringside in a comical neck brace. Gives Adam Cole the title. And Adam Cole is going to use the title. And all this time does help because it gives the referee a bit of time to recover from the Panama Sunrise. Adam Cole is waiting for MJF to get up. He's waiting and he's teasing it and he's teasing it. And he decides he can't do it, and he throws the belt out of the ring and says to Roderick Strong, I'm not going to do it, you're not going to make me do that to my friend. He goes over to MJF, MJF cradles him, 1, 2, 3. MJF retains the world title. As far as a wrestling match, the moves, as I said, were not as good as the moves in the FTR match or the Ospreay match. But as a story, it was really, really good. And it was absolutely not what I expected. It was so different to what I expected. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars, just as I gave those 2 matches. After the match, there was another tease. MJF came in and he gave the Ring of Honor tag title to Adam Cole in the corner, who's consoling him. And Adam Cole threw the belt out of the ring. And MJF said, you know what? And he threw the belt down to him and he turned around and he wanted him to hit him. And Adam Cole put the belt down and they hugged each other and he did the dagger in the back again. So it might be coming. But on this night, MJF and Adam Cole, and Roderick Strong was down the ramp with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. On this night, the turn that we all said, it could have been MJF who turned, it could have been Adam Cole, and that was the enticement of the show. Neither one did. And that's kind of cool. Again, it was so unexpected. I so was sure that this was just going to be MJF turns on Cole. But what we got instead was a bit of a longer story, which I'm happy with. But as a whole segment, I give 5 stars to everything from the entrances with MJF getting like a special entrance. MJF get like a special entrance, which was really, really cool. And, the post-match stuff, the whole thing is like a 5-star angle, and it's going really, really well. I just want to see where they go. They've only got All Out this week. They've got a pay-per-view in literally 5 days, and they need to do something with the world title on that show. Maybe they just do a rematch, and maybe that's where one of them turns, but I don't know if I would do it. I would still maybe drag it out ever so slightly longer. But for all those people who are like, these two can't main event All In, these two can't main event All In, it's going to be a failure. 81,000 people in that building. 81,000 people. Dave Meltzer was in that building. Brian Alvarez was in that building. And that was the way the show ended, except for Tony Khan coming out and MJF and Adam Cole announcing that next year at Wembley, we'll have All In again. It will be the same weekend, bank holiday weekend here, but it's going to be the 25th rather than the 27th. And that is really cool, because it looks like I'll be going again. What an experience, though. That is the show. MJF retains in the main event. Confetti for him. All good. Happy. Friendship. We were chanting, yay for friendship. I love being in this crowd. This crowd, man. This will be one of the best AEW crowds you'll ever see, I imagine. And that was the show. And when I look at the show, there isn't a 5-star match. There's no match I've given 5 stars. But the 3 4.5-star matches, a 4-star match, and a bunch of matches above 3 stars. The weakest match on the show was the opening tag match, which only got a couple of minutes, so it wasn't given a lot of chance to be great. And then the Acclaimed match, which was decent for what it was. So I'm going to give the show, I can't give it a 10. I was there live, so it feels like I should give it a 10. I'm going to give it a 9 and say this show ruled. Where does it sit in the annal of great AEW pay-per-views? I don't know. I'll have a think about that maybe when I rewatch the show back. But for me, it was a truly special night. One of the best things I've done in my 25 years of life. I've done some wonderful things. I've been to CW live events, and I've been to Old Trafford, and been to the museum, and been to Cape Canaveral, and been to Florida, and Italy, and Australia, and all these things. This was so special. And I got emotional. I got emotional thinking about it, but doing it again next year. Hopefully. I guess we'll see. We'll see what the build for next year is like. Maybe they can build it more than 2 weeks before the show. But I don't want to be critical. I love the show. I loved being there. Thank you for everything that helped set this up. Thank you everyone who helped me be able to go to this show. Thank you to my fiance and friends for inviting me, and just thank you for everyone. Thank you for AEW for coming over and doing us a show, and thank you for all the people on that card that worked hard, the MJFs and the Darbys, and Adam Cole and Ospreay and Jericho, and people who flew from Japan like Kota Ibushi, and just special show. I will never forget this. This review is on my channel, and I'm so happy it's going to be on my channel. I'm so happy I've got to talk about it, and I've got to mention I've got a Switchblade top. I did buy a piece of merchandise. I haven't got it, but it's downstairs. Currently, I bought an All-In shirt just because I wanted to remember that I was at the first AEW All-In at Wembley. There will be more AEW All-Ins. There's going to be one next year, but there's only one first, and I was there, and I can say that I was one of those record-setting, highest-paid attendance people. And I was so happy that I was. Oh God, it's emotional. It's just like, after the Bray Wyatt video last week, which was a hard video to make, this video is so joyful, and I'm so happy that I got to do this. I just thank you. thank you to everyone who made this happen. But anyway, guys, that is my AEW review. 9 out of 10. Bunch of 4.5-star matches and some really good other stuff too. What did you think to AEW All In 2023? Were you there? Were you one of the people who were present? What did you think to the main event? What did you think to nobody turning in the main event? What was your favourite match of the show? For me, it was the Will Ospreay match. That man is insane. What was your least favourite thing on the show? Probably just the opening tag or the Acclaimed match. What did you think to, Kota Ibushi's performance? What did you think to the Bucks FTR match? I think it's the best match they've had. Where are we going from here? We're obviously going all out. What do you think is going to be on that show? But I guess thanks for watching, guys. Massive thanks for watching this. There's a really personal video, and I'm so happy I got to do a video on being at this pay-per-view live. So thanks for watching, guys, and this has been Volva.